Hello, chess friends, and welcome to Jozarov Chess Channel, and welcome to new AI Chess Madness that started a couple of days ago. Welcome to the TCEC Season 24 Premier Division. And this super event you can follow on the TCEC official website. The link to this beautiful website will be the first thing that you see in the description below. Please visit this beautiful website. I think you can have a great preparation in some openings because the engines are playing really cool opening lines, playing cool tactical motifs, really immortal tactical sequences. So it's really, I think, tournament worth to follow. And we are starting now this super event, the Premier Division, with a beautiful gameplay by Lc0 against another engine, Cheese. This Cheese engine is not so powerful. I think it's really an underdog in the TCEC world, but still I wanted to show this particular game because it also shows a beautiful and tactical way how to dismantle, how to destroy the Dutch defense, because I think many of us are bothered against the Dutch defense. Usually this opening should not be played because there are many weaknesses that can be exploited, but still many worries I think we have against this opening. So if you are bothered by this Dutch defense, I think this way that LC0 show us is a beautiful way, really a sharp tactical way in order to destroy this really annoying opening. So let's see now the game. LC0 played with the white pieces, opened with the move d4. This Cheese engine played now the Dutch defense with the move f5. We have now the move g3, going into the so-called fianchetto attack. We are controlling further the e4 square, which is very important. In the continuation, we have now knight to f6, normal development, and now knight to f3. And you see now with the move d6 that here the Cheese engine played, we have now this method to create this breakthrough motif with the move e5. Well, let's flip the board a little bit because I think the main goal is some ideas of knight to d7 or maybe knight to c6 if possible, then to play e5 and then maybe e4, maybe f4. So building sort of a, it's not the same, but it's similar like in the King's Indian. You're trying to get this king side flank attack with this breakthrough motif e5. It's of course normal method. This method has to be prepared for. You cannot just rush into this attack, but if black manages to pull off this e5 with a great motif, then I think white could have also several tactical problems. So here in the continuation, bishop to g2, played by LC0, c6 by Cheese, preparing queen to c7, which is so of course connected to the e5 square. We have now kingside castling, and now after move queen to c7, now comes this idea by LC0. White wants to also break and enter here with the move e5, e4. In the continuation, we have now the move e6 by this Cheese engine. For instance, if you play now e5 immediately, many of us I think would play this move. Actually, you get already huge tactical problems because white can actually take after d takes e5. We have now d takes e5, and now with knight to c4 the game becomes quite unpleasant because look at this. Even if you play e4, for instance, bishop to f4 is going to happen. You get a beautiful attack against the queen. After move knight to c4, maybe you could protect the pawn on e5, but now look at this. We play knight takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop to f4. Maybe you can protect this position for a while, but after queen to d4, there's nothing that can be done. You lose the knight. Look at this. For instance, g5 we can have, but now we just trade off more pieces. And after bishop to g7, we can even pick up this one. So the position is simply falling apart for black. So white is here dominating all over the board. So you see, with the move knight to d2, e4 is the realistic chance. So that's why black cannot pull off this e5 move immediately. As I said in the beginning, it's a plan, but this plan has to be prepared first. So in the continuation, we have now the move e6. Maybe changing now a little bit the plan, building this stonewall pawn structure, maybe playing d5, knight to d7, maybe cement the position around the square e4. So it's also now, I think, realistic plan here for black. So in the continuation, now c4. And you see now in the previous tactical line, when white dominated here with the move knight to c4 around the square e5, this tactic actually worked. But now when the pawn took over on c4, there's no knight to c4 anymore. Now the Cheese engine decided to break and enter with the move e5, and there is a rule in chess and says that says you should not break and enter in the center when you have the king still in the center. And it's now a perfect example how Cheese makes here a strategic mistake, really a strategic blunder. Pushing the pawn on e5, letting the center explode is here not possible. So as I said in the beginning, this e5 is a goal, is a plan, is a strategic idea, but this move has to be prepared first. You have to really play many moves in order to let this pawn rolling. Now after move e5, LC0 is saying, okay, show me what you got now in the center. Your king is naked here. Your king is stuck here on the e file. Now Lila breaks the position with the move e4, and now what can you do? So for instance, if you play d takes c5, this wouldn't be good here to immediately trade off the pawns in the center of this move. e4 is more aggressive. It creates really already huge tactical problems for black. So in the continuation, f takes e4, played by this chess engine, and that's why I like this game, because I think many of us had maybe a similar position but never pulled off this e4 move. Knight to g5, attacking now this pawn 3 times. This pawn cannot be protected anymore in a different way. You have to play now the move d5, connecting now the pawn chain, and now the fun starts. After d takes e5, queen to e5, and after c takes d5 and c takes d5, it seems so that black is defended that position. Okay, here in this particular position, queen to g5 is not working because you're getting destroyed. Look at this, knight takes e4. You have to maybe play here knight takes e4. Now we play here simply bishop to e4, and the game is over. Bishop to g5 is also happening. The queen is under fire, so this game is over. For instance, if after knight to e4, if you step back here with the queen on g6, then we play rook to e1, and again, it's a lost game, I think, for black. You can maybe cover, but look at this. We play d6, knight takes d6 is also opportunity, hitting the pawn on c8. You cannot take, of course, but it's because of the e-file attack. So many problems here for black. d6 and knight to d6 are winning the game here for white on spot. So you see, this move c takes d5 cannot be met with the move queen to g5, because knight to e4 is really a huge tactical problem. So that's why c takes d5 was played by this chess engine. Lila went with queen to b3, indirectly, of course, hitting the pawn on f7. This is the square f7, pardon me. This is now a huge tactical problem. For instance, if you play normal development here, knight to c6, this wasn't played in the game, then you get this stunner. Knight to e4, look at this. Even if you play d takes e4, look at this. Queen to f7 is going to happen. Rook to d1, getting many pieces into the attack. And if you play, for instance, knight to e4, if you're trying maybe to keep this diagonal locked, then we play rook to e1 and lining up many pieces on here on the e file. So it's simply, again, I think, game over here for black. So you see, after move queen to b3, there's no normal development here for black. That's why here in the continuation, the chess engine took finally the knight on g5, but you know the grip. Knight to e4 comes now with a beautiful tempo against the queen. The queen again has to step back to g6. We have now knight takes f6. We have queen to f6, and now the bishop is coming in a brutal, beautiful way into the game. No castling will happen here, I think, for black anymore. The king is simply stuck in the center. You see in the beginning how bad it was for the chess engine to let his pawns roll in the center of the board. Now the king is naked. You're getting here really a crossfire all over the board. The king is getting destroyed by this beautiful heavy artillery that white has prepared here. So in the continuation, bishop to e7, a desperate try by black to try maybe to regroup here to finally secure the king somehow. Rook to e1, of course, knight to d7, and look at this, h4. Preparing bishop to g5, very dangerous move. h6 has to be played, but okay, you maybe solved one problem, but now you have new problems. You have now light square problems in front of the king. So although black is up a whole piece, but this defense is simply not working. This is simply too much pressure here. Bishop to e3, normal development. Rook to f faked. We have rook to d1, and look at this. This is now brutal attacking formation. I'm not sure if I would love to play this game from black's perspective. Let's flip the board just for the feeling, for the taste a little bit. How would you feel in this particular position if you would play it with the black pieces? I would not play it for sure. So as I said, really monstrous attack that Lila CZ were prepared here. So after move rook to d1, queen to a6, trying to simplify the game, maybe trading off the queen somehow. In the continuation, bishop to d4, hitting now also the pawn on g7, which is now a huge weakness. For instance, if you play knight to f6 here, if you're trying maybe to liberate now the long diagonal for the light square bishop, if you're trying maybe to get this bishop somehow into the game, I've analyzed this move at home because this seemed to me like a natural motif. You're getting at least some kind of a new defensive piece into the game. Look at this, what happens. Rook takes e7 is even a possibility, because we always evaluate the strength of our pieces if they're playing. So this rook is in the beginning worth maybe 5 points, but now it's worthless because it's stuck in the corner. So that's why you see the rook never participated in the game. Basically, it's almost like white is playing the whole game with an extra piece, and now we have this beautiful sacrifice after rook to e7, king to e7. Look at this, bishop to c5 is coming into the game. You have to play king to d8, getting in front of the rook. Look at this, really, really well stopped. Now bishop to b7, and we can pick up the queen. So again, the game is over here for black. So after move bishop to d4, here the chess engine tried to escape with the king. Finally, maybe reroute the king to b8, maybe, I don't know, b6, but it's a long run. Of course, this is not working. Here LcZero continue with the move bishop to g7. Even if you play rook to e8, maybe, pardon me, after bishop to g7, queen to b6 was played by the chess engine. Even if you play rook to e8, I've also analyzed this line. I was very interested what would happen, for instance, if you bring the rook somehow into defense like this. Actually, look at this, bishop to f7 is going to happen. If you try now maybe to trade off the queens, queen to f3 is going to happen. Maybe you're trying again to trade off the queens, but the most important thing is that white keeps the pieces on the game, in the game. Now after move queen to f5, there's nothing that can be done. Maybe you're trying b6, maybe getting the bishop somehow into the game, maybe even deliver checkmate. But look at this, bishop to e8, we have king to e8, rook takes d7, queen to d7, and now for instance queen to f8 is also a beautiful checkmate pattern that also bothers, of course, black in the continuation game. So as I said, after move bishop to g7, here the chess engine tried queen to b6 instead of rook to e8, but again LcZero kept it calm. Bishop to f8, we have bishop takes f8, queen to f3, again with the same motifs. You have always this problem, queen takes f8, and then of course the d file could get open. So there are many tactical possibilities now for white. So bishop to c5, bishop to e6, we have now queen to bishop to f2, queen takes f2, queen takes f2, and after king takes f2, this was the way that black at least survived somehow. Maybe a checkmate, but this is of course not a good position for black. White is up the exchange, has here a 2 versus 1 pawn majority, will create a passer, so the game is over. And actually the evaluation here is of course also completely winning for white. So we're now in move 26, and LcZero dismantled the Dutch in 26 moves. This is really brutal chess. In the continuation, we have now the move b5, we have g4 a5, we have g5, h takes g5. Now the pawn is rolling here on the king side, king to c7, g6, knight to c5, bishop to f7, bishop to g4, attacking the knight steps back, and Stockfish, I almost said, pardon me, LcZero continues with the move g7. With the we have here the move a4, rook to c1, hitting here the king. The king has to step back, a new check. The king has to be cornered here on a5, and now the knight gets attacked twice. You have to play knight to b6. Now a3, we have king to a6, bishop to d5, rook to e8, and now g8. The promotion, you have to sacrifice now the rook for the pawn. We have bishop to f5, bishop to e6. After a couple of trades of pieces, we have here a couple of checks. The knight gets pinned here in this particular position. After move rook takes b6, in this position chess resigns. So we're now in move 46. The chess engine resigned, but I think it was a position that chess should have resigned in move 26. So after 26 move, the position was falling apart for this other engine. LcZero really destroyed here this chess engine with a brutal performance, and Lila is actually on the second place so far, behind Stockfish. Stockfish has 1 point more than LcZero after the first 22 or 23 games that they have played. The Dragon engine is also 1 point behind Stockfish 15. So these three engines will battle it out for the throne, although I still think that Stockfish is winning this one, especially because in the super final they'll have to play 100 games, and the previous event in which LcZero won the game against Stockfish, they had to play only 6 games, which is, I think, just a small pattern of games to decide which is the best engine. I think this 100 game super final, it makes more sense because they play many openings, many sidelines of openings, many new ideas. So then of course we can see really which is the best engine in the world. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting ideas of the Dutch defense for sure. If you want to see more brutal attacks like this, check out my comment chess games, the best chess games here by Top Engine. Here's the link of our whole playlist, and if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos and what to say. Chess is the best, of course.